Hello and welcome to Art with Mrs. Beaufeaux. Today in 5th grade we're going to learn a simple stitching technique called a running stitch to create our very own stocking for Christmas. Can't wait to get started. We're going to be using templates today to make our felt pieces the correct shape before we stitch it together. Let's get started. Sewing is defined as the act or process of using a needle and thread to make or repair something made of a textile, aka cloth, such as a piece of clothing. We are going to be sewing 2 pieces of felt together today to make our very own Christmas stocking. Okay guys, today we're learning about stitching. Here are what I have for us today. I have a piece of felt, my nice scissors, a spool of thread, and a needle. Let's get started by learning how to thread the needle. Take some string off of the spool, and to make sure that the string threads easy, we're going to cut the string at an angle, the thread at an angle. I purchased some large eye-hole needles, so it should be easier for us to thread. Just put it right through the hole. Now we're gonna double up the string. It's important that we double up the string. Okay, you're gonna take the 2 ends of your string, line them up and pinch them together. The next thing we're going to do is create a knot. To do this, we want to make a loop with our thread and our needle. I'm going to cross the 2 ends of the thread across the edge of the needle, and it's going to look like the letter X. Holding it with one hand, I'm going to spin it around 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now I push it down and I pinch it lightly, not like so hard that you can't move it, because we're going to drag this knot all the way through. And there's our little knot. There are many different styles of stitching. Here are 4 basic ones: running stitch, back stitch, whip stitch, and slip stitch. Today we're only working with running stitch. Some of you may know how to do this already, but to a lot of us this is the first time we've ever held a needle and thread. So we're gonna go with the basic running stitch. Do you notice how it has a line, space, line, space, line, space? How they're all in a nice straight line? That's what we're looking for today. Running stitch is going to go in and out, in and out, in and out. When you look at it, it's going to be line, space, line, space, line, space. Let's take it, push it all the way through, and then we bring it up from the bottom. That's our first space. Now I bring it through the top, push it. That's going to create my first line. It's important that we make sure that you're going through the correct angle. We don't want to go around and around. That's a different style of stitch. Today we're just working on the running stitch. For some of you, you've done this before and this will be easy peasy. But for some of us, this is the first time we've ever held a needle. So we're going to start with the simple stitch. So from the top to the bottom, bottom to the top, top to the bottom, bottom to the top. We pull it through. This is as far as I'm going to do for this example. To make that knot, we don't want to just clip it right here because that would all fall out. We're going to again make this loop, cross it over and go 1, 2, 3, and then I pinch it lightly, push through, and I'm squeezing down, and there's my knot at the end. Take my scissors and I cut it. Do you see space, line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space? Okay, so that's a running stitch. We've worked with templates before, but just as a reminder, a template is a design, mold, or model used as a guidance to create the same design or shape with precision. To make both sides of our stocking the same shape and size, we're going to utilize a template today. I have created the stocking template for us to use today to get our felt into the right shape. So the first step is to fold your felt over. We're going to place our template on top, and each of us is going to take a little pin and lining it up and stick this pin through the top and the bottom. That's going to make sure that our pieces don't move. Now you're going to go around and cut out your template. To do the side, I just put it in that fold and cut down the fold. Now I should have just a few scraps. We're gonna put those to the side. And when I take out my pin, I should have 2 stockings that look the same. Ta-da! As a quick review, to thread my needle, I cut my thread at an angle. I pull it through and double it up. That doubling up is very important until I get all the way to the end. Line those puppies up. I'm gonna make a loop and an X, spin it around 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and pull it on down. Tug, tug, tug. And if you've got a lot of excess, you can trim off the end. We are going to use a running stitch around the entire edge of the stocking. As I get to these curvy bits, I'm still trying to keep it in a nice straight edge, the same distance away from the raw cut edges of the felt. That's pretty important. You can see I'm working to make them all the same size, and I did a nice knot at the end. Now that my running stitch goes all the way around, but not across the top of my stocking, we're gonna take one of these pieces of felt that's left over and we're gonna make a little loop on top. Okay, to do this, we first need to make a strip. So I'm going to take this and just cut off where that curve was. And I'm gonna cut it in half. This is going to be a nice long strip. If I turn it in half, you can see it's gonna make a cool little loop. This next step is up to you, whether or not you want it to show your nice stitching that you've done, or if you want to turn it inside out. I wanted to show you what would happen if we turn it inside out. That simple running stitch should connect those 2 together. If you want to turn it inside out, it'll look like that little stocking. For the rest of class, after you've done it, you get to decorate it any way you'd like. I have some puffy paint for you today, along with different ribbons and stuff that you can hot glue onto the front to make your stocking look individual and unique. This has been Art with Mrs. Beaufeaux. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon.